In a warehouse somewhere, our two girls are tied up with their hands behind their backs. I'm sorry, because of me. You're involved in this too. Hey, are you two awake now? What are they planning to do with us? You don't need to know. Just sit quietly there. Everything will end soon. A man in black points at Dayan and says, "What should I do with this girl? Leaving her here won't be useful. Just deal with her now." To protect Dayan, Yeona stepped forward to intervene and warned them that if they touched Dayan, Yeona would bite her tongue. They seemed somewhat concerned about that, so they let it go. Yeona luckily helped Dayan through the danger, according to the information provided by Mr. Cha. Ijin has found a container yard. Siakju says his source seems accurate. We've checked the cameras and confirmed the vehicle coming this way. Now let's wait here for the agents to arrive for support. As I said, Dayan doesn't have much time, seeing Ijin act. Siakju follows to assist Ijin in taking down the thugs outside. Everything has to be done in silence to avoid alerting the leaders. As this man in the green shirt turns into the shadowy corner, Ijin immediately locks his neck from behind. By the time he foams at the mouth, he's passed out. Then Ijin drags him into the darkness. Ijin and Siakju have now taken down 5 or 6 of them, seeing Ijin act so professionally. Siakju asks, "Who are you really?" But Ijin's answer is just one short sentence, "I'm your classmate." In a luxurious room, the assistant is briefing Yeona's grandfather on the situation. The main reason for tonight's kidnapping is to force him to cancel a recent business deal. Within an hour, if he doesn't make a decision, Yeona will have to die. The rescue team needs another 50 minutes to arrive. And the situation is very tense, back at the scene by the port. These two men are discussing something. Suddenly, they are ambushed from behind and fall to the ground. When one of them looks up, he sees Ijin subduing another assailant. In the process, Ijin also kicks him in the face. Knocking him out, Ijin and Siakju regroup. "How many did you take down?" "Including the one over there. It's 5 in total. We've taken down 14. It seems they've hired a lot of people for this. These outsiders are useless. The leaders must be with Yeona." Speaking, Ijin looks towards a lit room. "Do you still have the strength to fight?" From afar comes a loud shout. What the? Where did all the bastards on lookout run off to? Maybe they had to take a dump. What, as a group? That's nonsense. One of them sees someone lying on the ground before he can comprehend. Ijin rushes forward and kicks one of them in the face. The other quickly gets his hands restrained by Ijin and is hit in the neck, fainting on the spot. "We have to split up now. I'll handle things outside. And you sneak in to rescue the 2 of them." "Sure, Ijin, once we're done with this, I will give you my official apology." As predicted, the man wearing a black mask in the room heard a strange noise, so he sent someone out to check. Ijin ran into 4 men, seemingly a professional group. "How did you manage to wander in here?" "Well, it doesn't matter. Blame it on bad luck, kid. Just get rid of him, quick." Meanwhile, Siakju successfully sneaked into the house through the window after observing. Siakju saw the 2 girls. There was no sign of the enemy around. He slowly approached to rescue them while explaining the situation to Yeona. Suddenly there was a voice from behind. The guy wearing a mask spoke up. "You must be Siakju, right? I've heard about you for a long time. You've been quite the nuisance. Always lurking around Yeona and getting in our way. I don't know how you managed to find us this quick, but it wasn't smart to come here alone, without your trusty security team, then." The guy in the cap next to him rushed towards Siakju. "This fool. He's not like the ones we beat outside today, just like what Ijin said." Both sides executed their tactics skillfully. Siakju focused on defense and searched for openings in his opponent's defenses. The opportunity came. Siakju aimed accurately, landing a punch on the enemy's rib. Then he spun around, delivering a kick to the opponent's face while he was dazed. Siak-ju twisted the enemy's arm backward and pinned him to the floor. The outcome was clear. I knew you were trained from an early age, yet it is still quite impressive to watch. Suddenly, Siak-ju's blood dripped onto the floor. He was being stabbed repeatedly by the knife-wielding guy from earlier. Ha ha. Why do you look so surprised? Did you think we'd fight with our bare hands? Make it quick, since we will have to move camp. Before the security team arrives, Siak-ju was at a disadvantage. He could only retreat and dodge, using his hands to defend as much as possible. By now, Siak-ju had accumulated quite a few wounds on his body. Meanwhile, the scar-faced guy stood outside, wanting to deal with Daeyeon. He deliberately led Siak-ju here, then aimed a knife towards the girl. There was no other way to save Daeyeon. Siak-ju had to take the full brunt of the knife. All three of them were now in dire straits. Keep Yuna here, deal with the other two quickly. Okay, sir. At that moment, the main door opened. Everyone turned to look. Fortunately, Ijin arrived just in time. Indeed. The main character always arrives at the crucial moment. The four men outside had fallen. Now it was time to deal with these two leaders. After Ijin left, the younger associate asked Mr. Cha. Turns out the Gasong cartel is behind this one after all, boss. But they don't seem to know what they're getting into. Why did you help him? How could I not? His little sister was kidnapped. How could I just stand by and watch? Mr. Cha couldn't have guessed that it was this act of kindness that would later prompt Ijin to come to his aid, returning to the situation at the warehouse. Seeing Ijin enter, Daeyeon exclaimed anxiously, "Oh, please, run. It's very dangerous here." Hearing the girl call out like that, the scar-faced guy chuckled. Haha, turns out I'm witnessing the big brother coming to rescue his little sister. Like in those movies. Ha, how amusing. Seeing how many innocent people were dragged into this dangerous situation because of her, Yeona immediately agreed to comply with any demands of the scar-faced guy if he released everyone, but at the moment, he held the upper hand. Ha ha. Why should I listen to you? Everything is in my hands now. No more bargaining. Get up, deal with him quickly. The scar-faced guy's henchman slowly approached, holding a sharp knife in his hand. Ijin remained calmly standing in place, observing his every small movement. As the first move, he aimed straight for Ijin's throat, stabbing with a malicious intent. Ijin tilted his head, deflecting the attacker's hand with his left hand, then twisted the knife-wielding hand, before aiming straight for the attacker's chest and pushing forcefully. Using both hands, Ijin drove the knife deep into the enemy's chest. The next move would be very bloody, and Ijin feared his sister would be frightened. He gently advised, Daeyeon, close your eyes. Then he withdrew the knife and continuously attacked vulnerable points like the neck, arms, knees, and tendons, causing the opponent to lose balance and fall to the ground. Everyone witnessing this performance was astonished. Siak-ju, with his extensive combat experience, was also surprised by this fighting style. The scar-faced guy was equally taken aback. You're the brother of that girl, but you don't seem to belong to the security team. Not to mention, your skills and gaze don't quite match your age. Do they? In the face of the scar-faced guy's suspicions, Ijin remained silent. At that moment, he rushed forward to attack. With a horizontal slash, sensing it, Ijin deftly evaded and then countered with an upward thrust. Observing the way his opponent held the knife, Ijin realized he was more professional than the previous one. Ijin quickly blocked the opponent's attack and didn't forget to follow up with a stab to the opponent's side. Both continued their duel, exchanging swift and precise knife strikes. Ijin tried not to let his opponent escape, pressing close and using the knife to continuously cut into the opponent's neck and arms. 3 slashes weakened the opponent's right arm. forcing him to switch to using the knife with his left hand. Ijin couldn't help in one rush. Ijin grabbed the opponent's wrist tightly and repeatedly sliced it as if peeling a fruit, delivering a strong blow to the face. The scar-faced guy became furious and decided to use a gun. Before the opponent could react, Ijin quickly drew his knife and launched a rapid attack, thrusting straight into the opponent's hand, causing him pain and making him drop the gun. Ijin swiftly continued his assault and delivered a powerful strike, causing the opponent to collapse unconscious. The battle ended. The scene around was filled with blood. But Ijin paid no mind and walked towards his sister, saying, "Daein, you can open your eyes now. I'm here to take you back, big brother." Seeing the blood on Ijin's body, Daein became very worried. "You're bleeding," Daein emphasized. Ijin was surprised to see Daein worried about him, but as long as he saw his little sister safe, his expression softened. Hi, it's okay." Not long after, SW's security team appeared to clean up the scene. All gang members and leaders were captured. Daein was psychologically affected by the recent events. Yuna suggested Ijin take her to the hospital for thorough counseling. "Have you been waiting long?" Daein asked. "No, I just finished. How did the doctor say? No need to worry. But still need to maintain weekly visits here," Daein replied. So Ijin was reassured. The two siblings walked and talked, unexpectedly encountering Yuna and a tall security guard. "Is it all done now? Is the doctor's advice okay?" "Yes, sir." "It's fine," Daein answered, while the two girls were chatting. The two men glanced at each other for investigative purposes. Ijin's gaze made the security team captain feel a bit intimidated. "I heard that Mr. Siakju is also in this hospital, right?" "That right. Let's go visit him together, in Siakju's hospital room." Daein resigned. "Thank you for protecting me. How is your wound?" "Thank you. I'm feeling better too." Sitting and chatting for a while, Daein and Ijin said goodbye and left. In the hospital room, there were only 3 people left. The captain, who had always been silently observing Ijin, spoke up now. "He's the one who participated in the recent incident with you." "Yes, sir. Despite seeing it with my own eyes, I still can't believe it. Young age. Not overly robust physique, yet able to defeat many opponents. Captain, do you think highly of him, don't you?" "Miss, it's not just about being skilled." He subdued over 10 men outside the warehouse in silence, plus 4 hired soldiers outside and 2 leaders inside. Most importantly, he didn't kill them, only incapacitated them, knocked them out, or took away their ability to fight. I'm sure this young man Ijin is a professional, having undergone extremely rigorous training, perhaps in SW. We can't find someone capable enough to fight him hand to hand. Hearing the captain's analysis, both Yuna and Siakju were stunned, wondering where he came from and how he could be so dominant. The 2 main brothers were walking home when Daein spoke up. "Thank you, brother. I've been saying it a lot lately. I always get help from everyone. No, the one who should be thanking is me." Ijin replied. Perhaps Ijin had understood a bit more about Daein's concern for him than for her own safety. This made Ijin understand more about the meaning of family. "Now I understand what family means.